Influencers have turned hair growth into a shopping addiction, and it is still in your length. In this video, I'm going to show you 1. The trick they use to hijack the word growth, 2. Why the scalp detox era is actually increasing breakage, and 3. The simple rule that cuts your routine in half without losing your progress. Also, towards the end of the video, I'll give you a 3-rule filter that tells you whether a product is helping you or if it is just hope and hype in a bottle. If your routine increases friction, manipulation, residue, or irritation, it doesn't matter how expensive your products are, you're going to lose length to breakage. I have to ask, if your bathroom looks like a hair aisle, are you actually using these products, or are they getting used twice and then left to expire while you chase the next best thing, the next growth secret? But before we even get into the hair science, we need to name the trick that makes this overconsumption trend so addictive. It hijacks the word growth, because the hair growth story online is framed like this: if your hair is dull looking, is dry, is afro textured, you must be missing a product that will fix your hair. And if you're not doing this, then you're not going to grow your hair ever. And that is a perfect setup for overbuying. Then comes the 12-step routines with 11 products and 9 tools, and an emotional threat underneath all of that: the fear of being the person whose hair never grows, and worse, the fear of being the person who doesn't give her hair the best, the latest, and the most expensive. So we buy and we buy and we buy. And the routine, of course, includes everything: clarifying, scalp oiling, protein products, a bond builder, a growth serum, of course, rosemary oil, hair vitamins, scalp scrub, all the things, an exfoliating brush, a fresh new leave-in, because this one will hydrate your hair for 96 hours, plus the hair butter from the same range to top it all off. If your scalp needs scrubs and acids and detox masks and clarifying tonics and pre-shampoo treatments, and a brush, of course, plus steaming, plus follicle unclogging kits, this is not normal. Since when did the scalp become a pot that needs to be scrubbed so aggressively and requires 4 different products? Yes, the health of our scalp matters, but most of those routines are just the hair version of too many skincare steps. First, we strip the barrier, we irritate the skin. Then, of course, we buy more products to now soothe the irritation that we've caused and created, and then we resume doing the same thing all over again. For us, harsh scalp routines often spill over into the fiber, into our hair. Then there's more friction at the root area, more tangling, more dryness. It's just almost pointless. The hairs at the roots are so dried up and so stripped before they even become the mids or the ends of our hair. And of course, you need bond builders before you wash your hair, as a pre-treatment, while you're washing your hair, and after you wash your hair. Why stop at one bond builder? No. Why not bond build the entire routine of wash day? I explained this in the bond builder video that went up recently, and people came for me. Look, bond builders have a legitimate place for chemically compromised hair: bleach, relaxer, high heat damage, right? But for many natural hair routines, they get used like a superstition. Like, if I just use bond builders, I will grow my hair longer and stronger. But that is not the case. Hair growth is not a shopping category. It is a retention strategy. And this is what I was trying to point out, and I still am trying to point out, because the real breakage drivers are still there, still happening, still breaking our hair while we're here using bond builders. Look, perhaps I didn't do an excellent job of explaining my points in the bond builder video, but if you have acne, you don't need vitamin C serum, you don't need urea, you don't need niacinamide or squalane or glycolic acid. What you need is benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, azelaic acid. But does that mean that vitamin C, urea, niacinamide, lactic acid are bad? Absolutely not. Does that mean that these other actives do not have anti-acne properties? No. But will they treat your acne like grade A acne treatments? The answer is absolutely not. They will not. And that is my point. And here's the kicker, the unfortunate one. A lot of these routines increase breakage. They do. How? By increasing manipulation, increasing residue, increasing friction, and scalp irritation. We think that we are investing in hair growth, but what we are doing is funding the damage we're trying to avoid to begin with. It really is unfortunate. It is. Hair fiber is not a living tissue. It does not heal. The only thing it does is accumulates wear as it gets older. So when we keep adding more and more steps, what we are adding is more wetting and drying cycles, more combing, more detangling, more tangles, more buildup, right? And then we need a harsh cleanser to remove all the buildup, and then we start all over again. This is not a routine. This is a loop, a spending loop. On social media, the message is almost like if you're not seeing length, obviously it is your fault, number one, and secondly, you need a product. This is a product, buy the product. And it plays on our very real feelings. You're tired of seeing slow progress. Your hair is breaking, you cannot fully explain why, and you're trying to avoid doing it wrong, and so you want to finally take things seriously, and you finally want to take care of your hair, so we buy. Then our hair routines become a production, a whole production in the name of self-care, self-rituals, and all the things. And of course, we need all the categories of products, right? The repairing, the bonding, the detoxing, the clarifying, the resetting, the hydrating, the boosting, the protecting, the growth one for the edges and everything. And don't forget the protein, the keratin, the reconstructors, and the molecular treatments, all of that. But we've been convinced that we need more and more to fix our hair because our hair is broken. Our hair is a problem. You need to fix it. This is what will fix it. Same thing with expensive dryers. Don't feel bad if you don't have one of those. A high-end dryer can still cause heat damage to your hair if you use very high heat or too small a section, or there's too much tension or repeated passes. A very basic hair dryer can be relatively safe if you know what you're doing. If you're managing heat exposure and friction and you're using a heat protectant and maintaining a safe distance between your hair and the dryer, you can still get away and be happy with a $20-something dryer. I have a Dyson dryer. It is great. It is amazing. These things are freaking expensive. If you put one of those on a credit card and keep all of the bad behaviors, the high tension, the brushing repeatedly, the repeated passes, no lubrication, rough towel drying, no heat protectant, you've not purchased progress. You've just purchased status. Status and hope that this is who you want to be, the person who has this kind of dryer. Oh, and same thing goes for layering products. Now, does layering make sense? Absolutely. It does if your layering functions. For example, you do a slippery leave-in conditioner to reduce the wet combing force to help you style, and something that has, with hydrolyzed proteins to strengthen the hair. Then you top that with a product that has hold so that you're not redoing your style every day between wash days. That is functional layering. But the 2 leave-ins plus the moisturizers and 3 oils and all the things, just because the internet says so, is not function. You cannot moisturize your hair for tomorrow. By the next day, it loses even more moisture, and then progressively it gets drier and drier and drier. We cannot moisturize into the future. You can only hydrate your hair properly today and then do it again when it is due. The over layering is wasting our money. Unfortunately, a lot of people on social media are not teaching us a routine, how to put a routine together. We're being sold the feeling, if you buy what I buy, you become the version of you who has it together. And so we want that. I want that too. And it is easy to fall for because especially when you are frustrated with your hair, it is not growing, or you are in a season where you want one thing in your life to feel put together, this one thing. And I get it, but a shelf of products does not equal a plan. It is just inventory. We don't account for postpartum. We don't account for burnout. We don't account for loss in the family, for stress, for older parents and younger kids, for debt. We don't account for these things. All we want is long hair, healthy hair, thick hair, obviously, no thinning, no bald spots, no traction. Definitely not low density or thin or fine or sparse hair. Absolutely not. We want thick, luscious hair, dense hair. And guess what? You too can have that for $43 every couple of weeks. And before someone says, are you saying we shouldn't buy hair products? We shouldn't buy anything at all? No, absolutely not. I'm just saying that we should stop buying everything just to try it out, just because it is out there. Stop buying hope. Stop buying shortcuts, because there's no shortcut. If you love trying products, fine, but set rules that you can respect so you can respect your money and your time. For example, you can say, I'm going to try a new product if my leave-in is almost finished, if it's half finished. You track how your hair likes a product before you decide whether or not you want to buy another one. That is how to trial a product. You assess for breakage. You assess for detangling time, for the texture of the ends of your hair. Does this product actually help me, or am I just wasting my time? A lot of the hair growth content we see online is not designed to help us keep our hair on our heads. They are designed to keep us watching and to keep us buying. The more products we buy, the more products we are convinced we need. Again, before I get misquoted, social media is not bad. Social media is great. Content creators are not bad. Content creators are great, amazing people. What I'm saying is we need a filter. That's all I'm saying. I'm not judging anyone for wanting nice hair products. It's great. We should have what we like. I'm you, we are each other. All I'm saying is that natural hair does not have to be managed as an expensive luxury. It needs to be managed like a delicate fiber because it is. So when social media turns hair growth into a shopping obsession, you end up paying more to handle your hair more, and handling your hair more is exactly how we lose length. Your hair is not a problem to be solved by spending more money. Your hair is not difficult. You don't need more and more products. You need fewer damage events. So build a routine that reduces the big damage levers. We're talking friction, excessive manipulation, harsh cleansing, tension, dehydration. Let's reduce those first before we spend our money buying more and more stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.